Okay guys, so in this video I'm going to make some old weathered beaten up panels for a diorama I'm going to work on soon out of the shell that I painted and went wrong. I'm going to use a wing, a bonnet and maybe one of the doors as well. So the first thing I did was take a scribing tool and work my way through the panel lines, taking it off one strip at a time, and then you'll start to feel it pull away. When it does that, you'll tend to come away in sort of cracks, and then there'll be one or two places where you need to push down a bit harder and sort of break it off carefully. Once the bonnet was off, there's this sort of bracket piece that holds the front bumper on. You needed to take that off. It's quite thick, so I decided I was going to cut it off with some snips. It's quite tough. Then there's sort of a raised area left that I got a sanding stick on and just took the worst off. Doesn't need to be perfect, this is an old panel. Then I just took the scribing tool and went over the remaining panel lines of the pieces I wanted to use. Then I had my 3 individual panels ready to work on. Started by cleaning them up a little bit. There was some sort of rough edges from scribing that I wanted to get rid of. Used a sanding stick and some 1000 grit sandpaper for this. Then I shot some light coats of Mecha primer, which is a water-based acrylic primer. Just some dust coats to give the paint some ink to grip to. Then I took some Vallejo Model Air rust colour and shot 2 or 3 light coats of this until I had a sort of grounding coat of textured rust. Then onto weathering, I used water-based chipping medium, again by Vallejo, and I put it on with a little piece of sponge and a small brush, just putting light areas on and sort of thin patches, very thin sort of splash type patches where I wanted the next layer of paint to wash out and create a sort of faded, almost mottled effect. Just using the brush here to make sure I get in that crease on the raised part of the bonnet. Then I took some metallic signal red, just again for colour variation, and shot 2 sort of medium coats of that over the top. Then taking a wet brush, I slowly work my way over the areas where I put the chipping medium to get the chipping effect to come through. Just take your time, keep working over it, and eventually it will lift off and you'll get the chipping effect. We didn't use any clear coat underneath, so it won't be the heavy thick chipping with this technique. And in a minute you'll see me, there I go, taking a much wetter brush and scrubbing in to create that faded mottled effect where I put the thin patchy layer of the medium on. Then I took my Revell weathering powders set, just a general weathering set, and I used 2 of these. I used the rust and the dark brown. I just loaded some of the powder up onto a brush and tapped it in where I wanted it the heaviest. Didn't really use a lot. This is the second pass with the darker colour. Just working it in with the brush over the panel, tapping it in sort of more vigorously where I wanted more of the stain to take hold. And then you'll see me blow away the excess once I'm happy with where it is, like that. Then I wipe my brush off on a piece of kitchen towel and just blended in the edges so it looks a little bit more believable, because obviously you're working in scale. Just to get that sort of grungy, old, hanging around the garage for ages kind of panel look. And there it is. And there's the 3 panels ready for further weathering on the diorama, which you should see me start on the channel very soon.